This week, an attempted synchronized deadlift with Terry goes wrong. No good deed goes unpunished, as we give a client advice and lose a load of work off the back of it, and they say pressure either bursts pipes or creates diamonds. We'll find out which one at Ashville as things come to a head. I'm Daniel, and it's Ashville Weekly, episode 193.
Morning. We're in the yard, and it's time to start pouring some concrete.
Once the concrete is dry, the small excessive bits of concrete are removed to ensure that when we do run a train, the rail is free of obstructions. Heading down to the generator, the load bank has arrived. Today's the day when we're going to find out if our generator works, the power is putting out. If it's all good, we will have certification, but who knows? A load bank simulates an electrical load and is used to test an electrical power source without connecting to its normal operating load. In our case, we're connecting it to the generator. We rented the load bank and suitable cables. The operator will now connect one end of the cables to the load bank and leave the other end to be connected by the generator engineer. He's asked me for the complete top to bottom.
Okay, I've given him that.
Yeah.
From there to there.
Fine.
But I told him that's not really applicable to you because he's not going to weld over this steel.
So we need to count how many cross members. 1, 2, 3. Grab this with me.
No, it's screwed down. I tried that already.
All right. If I'd been deadlifting, we'd be able to just lift this and just check. Later this week, we're going to put the LH60 bucket on this, send this to WelderFabber. In the central area, he's going to cut up some steel, weld a steel plate through the middle, then we're going to do the timber, and this will be fully refurbished and ready. The reason we're putting timber on the outside is because it's more grip for the tracks. But all now we need to tell him how many cross members there are, and we screw down these sheets of ply, and we don't want to pull them up. If Terry had been training, we could deadlift this and lift it, but he's kind of letting it down for the side at the moment.
How heavy is it?
How heavy is it, do I reckon? Quite heavy, Terry. All right, come on in. You need to get... No, I'd say this. All right, 2, 3. All right, not a hope. All right, cool. No, makes diamonds or burst pipes. That's what pressure does. What are we doing here, Tel?
We're trying to make diamonds.
We're trying to make diamonds. Good man. No, that's the end of the sentence. While we pour concrete up the top of the yard, we're continuing with the shuttering down here. We're going to do the same, and we're going to pour the 6-meter sections. We're then going to strike out what's on this side, build the ply here, and there'll be an expansion joint where it connects at the top and bottom, and also running down this central area here. We start as we have been, laying membrane, then build the shuttering on both sides to act as a mold for the concrete and the 2 layers of mesh. The wet concrete will be extremely heavy, so a number of supports are put in place. Some driven into the ground, and some fixed to the concrete sleepers on the primary line. Going to use this mega to do a test on the alternator to see if there are any faults. Because if you crank it up, you could cook the alternator. So you put this on it, you send 500 volts through it to ensure there are no problems before you do anything. So once the alternator is okay, then you go to the next point on your checklist before firing this up.
So we're happy with that. Connect up the cables for the load bank outside.
Over in the tyre bay, I only came over here to admire the inside of it again. And Ben has a slow puncture on the roll on, roll off. Now, as we now have a compressor, the replacement was ready to go. Took the old one off and the new one's going straight on.
Fuel pod, loads of fuel in there, okay. So you see that slowing down? That's the fuel now being pushed around.
We have power. It's a bit croaky when we started her up, like when you clear your throat. And now it's running smoothly. After 20%, we shut it off. Fired it up again, and now we are testing at 50%. This is meant to be pushing out 800 kVA, which is roughly 650 kilowatts. This system is testing the power. So over here, you can see where we can set the kilowatts to draw from it. We've set it there at around 300, and we've set the generator to 50%, and it is feeding it nicely. This draws the power and converts it into heat and pushes it out of the back with the fans. So we're running it for half an hour. Then we're going to turn it off and crank it up again, and then we're going to see what it does when we try to go to the higher levels. Bam. If ever there has been an absolute mug-off in history, this is it.
It's not true.
Chris Barry, BH Basements, my first ever grab customer, and I used to do all his work myself because I never had a driver. He knew I was lying when I said I had loads of lorries, and he still gave me a chance, and I do not have a short memory. But get this, giving the man all my connections, he's bought his own lorry. The man's had the lorry delivered to my yard. He's putting my material in it. Wait, hold on. He's calibrating it in here, all with my gear here, and he wants to just leave the lorry here. He's just done me out of all my work, and then he's brought this lovely lorry in here for all your concrete requirements. Can you imagine?
You know, there's no way on earth that lorry's going to service all the concrete that I could possibly need. Let's make this clear. I'm going to be buying cement. I'm going to be buying aggregates from you, Daniel Ashville.
But get Chris. Look how Chris works brain. He says,
Daniel, you told me that I need to fill up at night. I'll be in your yard at the end of each day to fill up cement, sand, stone, and water.
And I was like, oh yeah, Chris, that's smart. And I was like, hold on a minute. If you fill up in my yard, that means that you park in my yard.
We had this conversation.
Yeah.
There was a pause for about 30 seconds. Hold on a minute.
And another thing, I know Chris well enough.
You can do all my other concrete work.
But you know what? That concrete work will be stuff he can't do, like Caltide waterproof mixes that you can't do in a volley. He'll then do it with someone else with a bottle mixer and say, yeah, but Daniel, you can't do that concrete.
Like I've said to you before, Daniel, you can have all my work. I've told you. Providing it all falls in line, you can...
Providing it all falls in line. But ain't it a lovely lorry? Why are you getting your eyes on my cement delivery?
Did you see that? How many times
He's just done me out of all my work, and now he's parking in my yard.
There's going to be no doubt Terry's going to phone me 5 o'clock one night and say, Chris, there's a job round the corner, we're a metre short. Do us a favour, mate, deliver the metre. Of course, Terry, no problem at all, mate, of course. And I'll charge you 195 a metre and all that.
Do you know what it is, Chris? Do you know what the problem is? I'm too kind. I'm too kind.
So am I.
I'm too kind. People take advantage.
Yeah,
my heart is so big, and I just want to give. And people are taking advantage of that.
Yes, of course, you're kind-hearted, Daniel, but you know, it's more than that. It's more than that.
Put the sad violin music under this. I'm gonna be honest, yeah? After years of talking about it, I am really happy that he's made the leap and got his own lorry. There's no point trying to hold people back and get in the way, because a man like that is just gonna do it anyway. Like I would just do it anyway. So it's best that you just give people the help you can.
I told you, I appreciate your help on this. Lunch is on me.
Lunch, you know? Lunch? Wait, mate, it's gonna have to be an expensive lunch.
I thought you liked chicken nuggets, man.
Like you see us doing with our volumetrics, continuous calibration is required. Sand and gravel are loaded onto the truck and discharged via the conveyor belt and weighed. This data is then uploaded into the control panel, and the mixes for each type of ready-mix concrete are then tweaked based on this information. And now here Chris goes, taking my cement. It's loaded into the hopper, discharged through the chute, weighed, and the data is uploaded into the control unit. Little problem here. The water filler pipe is only on one side, and it's not the side we load from in the yard. But this is an easy fix for Chris with a few fittings and connectors, and this is a must, as being able to fill on both sides is much more efficient.
The lorry came back into the yard, and as it drove past, it smelled like burning. What, is that the brakes? Why would the brakes have been mashed so hard? Felt everything. It doesn't feel extraordinarily hot on any of them. Had a look around, saw some smoke coming from this area, looked in there, and I think there is a problem with the diff. It's not gone because the lorry still has movement. We're gonna park this up immediately. The driver's gonna jump in another tipper of a driver who's actually on holiday today and get back out on the road and do some work. This lorry is going nowhere. I could smell it. I knew there was something wrong with it. Talking with counterparts in other companies who are in the same game as we are, i.e. selling concrete, some are doing tippers, some are doing grabs. Across the board, it seems that the industry is not busy. Even some of the companies who focus just on utility work, we're almost in a situation where a lot of people in construction at the moment are treading water, especially with the election coming up. A lot of decisions aren't going to be made till after the election because people want to base decisions on whichever party gets in and the changes they're going to make and how it's going to affect their business aspirations. While not moving forward is painful, it genuinely bothers me. In a difficult economic climate, survival is classed the same as success. Because in an economic climate like this, unfortunately, there are companies who will not survive. So treading water and surviving and keeping your company going, keeping the wheels turning, is not failure if you're not moving forward. You're merely just ensuring that when things do pick up, you are in a position to then benefit from the upturn in the market. I know it's a bit of doom and gloom, but I do have a little bit of good news. The generator was ramped up to 99%, and we had 637 kilowatts, which is just under 800 kVA. And we had it running at full bore for half an hour. Apart from all the diesel that it drunk doing it, the point is that the generator works well. Now, the log from it has been downloaded. If there are any faults, the technician who was here, he's going to put it all in a report and he's going to give some guidance on a little bit of snagging. There's a couple of pipes internally that may need to be fixed. They may need some new collars. There are a few things which need to be strapped down. And he's recommended that we put bigger batteries on it. Now, I just replaced the batteries that were on there originally, but he's saying when you crank it on, those batteries are struggling. I am more than happy to put 2 new batteries on it because you don't really want things to work at 100%. You want them to work somewhere in the 60 to 70 region so they're not under too much strain. That is a good end to Monday. The generator is firing on all cylinders. Nice. Tuesday morning, went around again. Had a physio session on my shoulder, the last one, and now I'm on my own. When I was going through my session, I was able to check my phone and I'm having a look at emails. And it's always the same issues that continue to repeat themselves. When you've done a job and people continually say, oh yeah, there's something else, oh yeah, there's something else. And you say, well, that's not really down to us, that's damage, or that wasn't us, or we told you that it would be like this when we finish. You know, when you do someone a favor and they ask and they ask and they ask, and at the time, because the relationship is great, you agree to do it. We had a conversation and I told you, this is somebody else's work, what I'm fixing, and they say,
oh yeah, but I thought it was gonna be better.
And then they hold back on payment. And then you get back and forth in emails, then you go back and you fix a little bit more, and it just breeds so much negativity. In the end, you think, why did I even bother helping this person in the first place? I should have just stuck to my guns and said, no, I'm not doing it unless I can completely redo it from scratch, and then I'm going to give you a warranty, but this is how much it's going to cost. If you're not comfortable doing a construction project or any job for that matter, you could be in IT, the hospitality sector, if you don't feel that you can do the job 100% or stand by the work, do not do the job cheaper to do the client a favor. because it will backfire. And don't believe the dangling of carrots.
Tie this into the next job. There's a big job coming. There's 10 big jobs. There's 15 big jobs coming. There's so many big jobs, you won't be able to cope. In your head, you can't imagine how big these jobs are.
Those big jobs are all well and good, but for starters, I'd like to be paid for the work I've done here in full. Thank you very much. And if you can't do that, good luck and goodbye. On the way to the yard, I'm gonna stop to buy a few electrical bits, which are the lorry, which had the front end damage. We need some amber beacons for the front, amber beacons for the back, and there's a fuse for the easy sheet. So I'm gonna pick up a few bits and then make my way to the yard. For the easy sheets, 4 of these strobes. We haven't got round yet to the other Volvo, which I told you we believe the third diff has gone, but I do have a price for a replacement. So once we completely finish with the one in the repair bay, we'll get it out, we'll cross that one off completely, and then we'll get started on the other one. We are really making progress with the shuttering in the new yard. Reinforcement is going in on the secondary line, and hopefully we'll be pouring concrete again tomorrow morning in the 6 meter gaps which we missed up the top end of the yard. We're pouring concrete tomorrow?
Yeah, 6 of them, yeah.
Are we pouring here?
Yeah.
Oh wow. I'm inside the Olympic container where we started work a long time ago but had to stop it because we were so busy on site. Now this is the only Olympic container which was bolted together in the central area, but we have a big move on Friday where we're taking some of our kit and putting it into storage. Coyle are going to send us 3 lorries and we're going to be at it all day. So we need to disconnect these for transport and take the temporary roof off and secure all the materials inside. Ashville is just the place that keeps on giving. Isn't that right, Chris?
The most expensive taxi ride I've ever had.
I am giving Chris a lift because his car was stolen.
Toyota Hilux. I think what happened, they scanned me in a petrol station, they pulled up next to me, scanned my kid, followed me home to find out where the car was parked, and that evening the car disappeared.
I would say you can't be too careful, but what are you supposed to do if you go in a petrol station and someone clones your key? Because I feel sorry for you about your car, this lift is on me, mate.
Thanks.
But the cement and the sand and the gravel and the water aren't on me.
No, that's already been made pretty clear that I'm paying for that.
Very good.
We haven't spoken about the rent for the yard yet.
Rent?
Yeah.
Why you're not parking in the yard? You're not parking in the yard, why do we need to talk about rent? I'm going to drop Chris off here. I'm going to head to my meeting.
I'm just going for tea at the Ritz, Daniel.
Okay, mate, enjoy. And that's it.
Right, that's it.
For Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? It is Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday.
No, it's Tuesday.
No, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. See you later, mate.
Right, nice one, mate. Cheers.
I've had a thought about the lighting. We've got the 3 chandeliers above the island. I'm thinking of another 2 chandeliers here. Can we do that? Is that possible? Can we run the cables? I'm not sure if 3 will be one height and 2 will be another height, or if they're all going to be staggered. But I think I need them on 2 separate circuits because they may not go for the additional 2. They may just have the original 3 in the plan. Can you wire them as 2 separate circuits? Good man. Can we run a few spotlights on either side of the island, flush that we can plaster over, but directional so they can point down? Can we do that also? We can, good. It's Wednesday, we're not in the yard. Bartouche and myself are looking at the electrics in the kitchen. We finished all our insulation. We have boarded around this entire section. We just have a bit of boarding to do around this area, but the window reveal on this side will be deeper because of the build-up of the wall of the kitchen. So the reveal you see here, the depth would have increased on this side. When you stand here, you have a flush wall going all the way down. Couple more cables to run, and we'll be able to plaster. And in the kitchen, Bartosz, we're there or thereabouts? Dot and dab and plasterboarding this wall in the kitchen. We are not insulating this wall because it's internal and we don't need to do any soundproofing for the other side. Because on the other side of this, we have a utility room and partway through we have a staircase going to the basement. In the beginning doing this area, it's going to be relatively simple because we can use entire pieces of board and fit them on the wall. But when we get a bit higher to the vaulted area, it's going to be slightly more intricate and we're going to need to cut. A couple of weeks ago, I was standing in this exact position and I was explaining to the lads that the recess area for the curtains would follow the corner. You can now see the work which has gone in place, but we're not entirely finished internally because of the steel that's above here. This area is slightly lower by a sheet of 18mm ply. You can see the step. So what we need to do is take 18mm ply and follow it round this entire area all the way to the end so the heights match. Shout out to the building inspector who had a look at our fabrication drawings of the new staircase. I believe all the risers and treads are perfectly fine, but what he needs to know now is if the actual staircase itself is built to British standards. It is, we just need to provide him with that information. The plasterers are going to start in this area next week. Everything's boarded up. We've put the beading on the ends where we can because it's slightly higher, but the plasterers are going to tape it themselves and then plaster this entire area. Once that's done, we're ready to slot the staircase in. If you can imagine, trying to put the staircase in and then plaster around it would, be counterproductive. Over here, to my right, we can see the sound insulation between the hall area and the snug. So we are going to start with the ceilings on the ground floor within a couple of days. We're just working on the air conditioning today. Once the air condition work is complete, time to start boarding. Example of the aircon on the ground floor being finished. We have the aircon unit here and we have ducted away on both sides. One is the intake, one is the outtake, and the grills will be fitted onto this unit here. The reason we've done it black is because when it gets extremely dusty, if it was white you'd see it more, but with the black you won't see it so much. Boilers are in, 2 of them to be exact, 35 kilowatts. Water cylinders are in, mega flows, 300 litres to be exact. Now I thought that this was going to take up more of the wall. The circumference of this is quite wide, but looking at the space we have before the door, if we match the space that we have here for any cupboards we built, it's decent. It looks like the space was meant exactly for it. So on the other side of the boilers, over here, we're going to have all the pumps we need. In the corner down there, we're going to have the water softener where the incoming feed comes straight in. So the water feed that's going to all of the taps will go through the water softener. Water will go directly into the boilers and be stored in the water cylinders. And of course, the drinking water will not go through the water softener. That's it from the refurbishment project for myself and
Bartosz.
And now we're going to see what David gets up to on a daily basis.
I'm a project manager for Ashville. My main job is to make sure that the jobs are run on time, on budget, and they run as smooth as possible. So I work from the office in West Drayton, or I work from jobs, offices like this one. If I get to the office, I usually concentrate on paperwork. I've got a time in the office to meet with Daniel, brief him on what's happening everywhere, and discuss the project's issues. When I get to sites, I usually concentrate on making sure that the sites are okay, speak with the site manager, Daniel Dudek, and just resolve issues on site, dealing with contractors, subcontractors, This is regardless where you are. Being between Ashville and the clients, that's quite important. It's a good working environment. It's more, I would say, family-run business, so everyone knows each other quite well. We've got a very good setup on site over here. Gives me opportunity to be on site, be with the guys. We work on a large residential job right now. Involves completely refurbishment of a whole property. All the internal walls were stripped down. The job involved new electrics, plumbing, new layouts of bathrooms, kitchens, opening lots of different walls. Also some loft extension and a major external works. The favorite part of the job is probably that you don't have the same day every day. It's changing. You deal with the clients, you deal with the customers, suppliers, so it's never boring.
Concrete work progressing well in the railway yard. Been pouring since this morning, and a total of 4 sections are done, and we're about to pour another 2. Update, got her all back together. Have a look at a flashback of when she took some front end damage. Now we've managed to assemble it with parts we had around the yard and brand new parts that we bought from Volvo. At the minute, the only thing that's missing is the Volvo badge, which isn't going to stop it going out on the road, but it does make it look a little bit ugly. Because it's been parked up for a while, the tacho calibration has expired. As soon as it's ready to go on the road, we'll book an appointment and we'll drive straight there and get it done. And then at last, this lorry should be fine to go back out on the road. Just had a meeting with our CFO, Mr. EBITDA, talking about bespoke reporting. These are reports, what we're going to push a button and they're going to be generated from the system, so I can have meetings with our sales team on our revenue, our top customers in the last 3 months, and our cost of sales. No point looking at revenue if you don't know how much their revenue actually cost you. And then I'm going to have bespoke reports for my meetings with Terry, where we go into more detail and look at the overall profitability of the company, taking into account our overheads, our operating costs, our transport, our trucks, our maintenance, etc. And I have returned for a 425 metre concrete pour, which is going to take 46 bottle mixers to deliver.
If you haven't been keeping up with the project manager that no one asked for, this is a residential home in Dubai, which we are documented, owned by a close friend of mine. 2 pumps will be working on today's pour. One 56 metre boom and one 42 metre boom. We're going to be pouring 400mm and 600mm raft foundations, an underground tank slab, 2 sump pit slabs, and a kicker for the retaining wall. It's going to be a C45 mix in most places, which is temperature controlled to remain below 32 degrees Celsius. There are 45 to 50 people working on this, and it will be a 10-hour continuous pour.
Getting ready for tomorrow. Time to get that bucket off the LH60 and onto the flatbed. Initially we put it on, but then we wanted to level it. And Ben needs to be happy with it because he's the one who's got to transport it. So we used the shovel, lifted it up slightly, and we've packed some sleepers underneath it. Now we're gonna put chains all over it, strap it down, then lift it onto the lorry. We have to be safe, secure, but Ben has to be happy. He's gonna have a very long drive with this first thing in the morning. Thursday morning. Ben was on the road even earlier than me. He's just arriving up at WelderFabber, and it is mission impossible. They've only got a couple of hours. Take off the flatbed. They're going to put some 30mm box on all the cross members. Then they're going to put 8mm steel on top of that, weld it, make it strong, get it back on Ben, and then they're going to put the bucket that you saw us take up to Fox a couple of weeks ago, put that on and do it all in good time so Ben can get back down to London nice and early. Mission impossible. Let's get it done.
I've just brought the steel to put on the flatbed. Brought us another clamp bucket, so we'll go and take a look at that first. Okay, so that's the clamp bucket that we've actually re-welded. There's a little bit more life left in them edges, but it's starting to wear more there. Give it a few more months, whereas this one, these can be turned. Like you can see how we've got a nice straight edge there. It's all worn on this edge here. So I have just had a quick look round it. There's a few cracks, and we'll re-weld all the corners of the edges. So you see them cross members there? Clean them all up. We'll sit a piece of box on. Stitch that box section to that. And then sit the Durbar plate onto that. Butt it up to that and fully weld it. Now that we've got the sheets in, I'm going to cut the sheets down so they land on a cross member, so we're not getting a weld that's missing a cross member. Put a little stitch weld on that dog there, put a wedge underneath it, pull the sheet up flood. I've already cut the corners off the sheets. Want it a nice snug fit all round. A little run there. So that's a 2 metre by 1 metre sheet that's been cut down that way to 885. These are 2 metres by 885. Which will need cutting down now to sit on the cross members. So we'll need to do 2 cuts.
And that's how you get it done. I showed you yesterday, we needed the Volvo badge left on the lorry. We've got a price. £400. I can't do it. It's 400 squids. I think it's just gonna have to drive around and nobody knows what vehicle it is, Dan. And a couple of you have been asking questions about the skydive I'm gonna do and the Daniel Ashville personal channel. We have upped the volume, guys. You'll see that there are videos coming out regularly, one of which came out last night. Click here to watch it, where I break down my property development journey on land I bought in St. Lucia a very long time ago, but we haven't been able to get the video out on the Daniel Ashville personal channel. But the first video is going to be connected to the skydive, and I've been talking to a number of companies, and it turns out at the moment, in a very polite way, nobody wants to strap themselves to someone who weighs 123 kilos. Because everybody I ask, after I tell them my weight, I see tumbleweeds flying by. And there's like messages in the WhatsApp where it's my message, my message, my message. And no one's messaging me back. So we'll keep on pushing on with that. Or if any of you know a skydiving company relatively close to London, I am more than willing to throw myself out of a plane, as that is what I agreed I would do. I'm just heading to a meeting in Central, which I am running late for. Friday, I'm in the yard. Today is a big day. We need to get some kit out of the new yard to make some space and put it into storage. This will be documented on a standalone video, which is an update to the new yard. At the same time, there's currently a shortage of material in the area. We can't get hold of any stone, and we are pouring concrete down here for the track, and we have concrete to pour for customers. So while we're lifting all the gear from here and trying to get it out, we're gonna have tippers coming back with stone, tipping it, put it on lorries straight away, pouring here, more tippers coming back, putting stone on lorries, and then heading out to jobs after we've poured the concrete in the yard. In order to expedite this process and get this done as quickly as possible, Coil have sent us in a few lorries, and this lorry with the big crane will be loading itself and the other lorries to speed this up, then go into the storage yard and offload in there and coming back and trying to do another trip again. So one Olympic office has been split in two. There's one on each step frame trailer. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take one turnstile and put it on the front of each one behind the cab. Then these two lorries will be good to go. Then this lorry will load itself and Ben and head over to the storage yard. One down, 100 more, and probably 2 years of heartache to go. Mid-lift, I'm heading over to the Volvo, which I told you about last week, where at first we thought it was an issue with the gearbox, but then we thought it was the diff, because when you put the diff locks on, you had drive, and now we've actually had a look around it properly, and we may have a small bit of good news. This is the short prop, which is connected between the third and fourth axle. The splines which go from here to here are wrong. Now, ordinarily, when this turns, it will turn the other part, and then we have drive. But because this is damaged and gone, it's just wear over time, it's nothing the driver did, it's now doing this. It's turning in this way, and it's not giving us any drive. So we're gonna take this down to Prop Shaft Services, and hopefully they can repair this one. If they can't, then we'll get a new one and put it on, and hopefully we get this lorry back out on the road. While all that is happening, the LH60 bucket has managed to go back on. We haven't piped it up yet, but Bazza has sorted all the cracks. This bucket is good to go once again. There's a lot going on in here at the moment. There is a lot going on. And the concrete lorry cannot get into the new yard currently to pour on the track area because the lorries are blocking it. We tried to plan it to the second, but it didn't quite work out. In another 10 minutes, it will manage to get in there, reverse up to the pump and start pouring. Just trying to line up now. It's very tight. I'm actually gonna need to swing out a bit in order to get round the wheel wash. We know it will fit because click here to watch a video where we brought these containers to the yard. Turns out Prop Shaft Services had an exact replacement in stock. So they've taken ours and gave us a new one. Here we go. Just putting it in place. We've got 2 bolts on it, and hopefully this will get the lorry back out on the road. And the LH60 is also good to work. Although at the moment, we do not have a train next week. In the midst of all the madness, I've taken a walk down to the bottom, and the only thing remaining are the stoppers. We believe the work is going to start here on Monday. There's a bit of grading to do and compacting with this track ballast. But other than that, the fundamentals of the track will be in place. You know, sometimes you feel like when your head is just going to explode and every second feels like an hour. That's what it's like in here at the moment. But moaning about it ain't going to change anything. So might as well get on with it. Saturday morning, I'm in the yard. And the saga continues with our Volvo with the front end damage, which we were about to get back on the road. We needed to plug into it in order to clear a couple of faults on the dashboard and reprogram, but a couple of the pins are damaged. So we've ordered a new one from Volvo. We're writing down where each of the cable goes. On Monday or Tuesday, we're gonna connect the new one, ensure that we plug exactly in the place where the wires were previously, and then we're going to try to plug in and do what we need to do. The trouble with these when people are plugging into it is if you try to force it, it doesn't really work. You've got to jiggle it. You've got to be a bit gentle with it. You've got to play the game. Can't just go in there, bam, 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 and try and plug it in. You've got to warm it up a little bit, serenade, and then you manage to connect and you manage to get what you need from it. Once we put the new one on, hopefully we'll be able to clear the faults on this and get it back out on the road. Now, I am about to go up to my office. The lads are getting it ready for me because we have made 500K subscriber plaques to honor our achievement with 500,000 subscribers. Thank you to everyone who subscribed and watches, but this is gonna be the reveal. I haven't seen it before. So if you wanna see it, you're gonna have to click here to watch that video. So what do you reckon about dismantling this scaffold?
You can't really dismantle a bit outside your office, because how are you going to get up to that?
I could just walk out my office and just straight jump down to ground floor.
Yeah, how would you get back up there?
I can dunk, Tal. I just jump. Like when I coursed you up when we were playing basketball in the backyard. Oh! He took Terry out! I'll start doing it next week then. I'm thinking we need 2 cranes here. We need to lift onto something and go over there and then lift it back off. 1 crane in this yard, 1 crane in that yard, and just run back and forth as quickly as possible. I don't see any other way of doing it. Friday afternoon, the lads will be here, disconnect as much as they can, cut as many cables as they can, pick up the containers Saturday, move them over there, and another one's there, stack them straight away. You're connecting Sunday and Monday. I can't see another way of doing it as quick.
No. People in here would have to go work somewhere else in other offices Friday. Are you going to take TVs off the walls and all this stuff down, or?
Just try and secure it. Problem then lies in weighbridge and wheel wash.
Yeah.
And silo. And we have to plan it that the silo is empty on Friday and have a load of cement booked for Monday. Mm-hmm. Otherwise we've got nothing. But then straight away we need to be there immediately to connect water. Mm-hmm. There's a big problem as well. At the end of next week, like from Saturday afternoon, I'm not physically here.
You're not?
No, I've got the tour. I've got to make sure that what I'm doing is strategic and makes a difference.
Yeah, for we're not doing things twice.
Yeah. That Saturday afternoon meeting with Tezza the comedian to try and work out the best course of action. There's a lot of ideas going around and we don't want to be doing things twice. And there is no easy way of doing it. As they say in Rocky IV, there's no easy way out. You spend say, dun, dun, there's no shortcut home.
I've never watched any Rocky films.
You've never watched a Rocky film?
No.
You haven't lived, my friend.
No.
Highly disappointing. Well, anyway, that's it for Ashville Weekly episode 193. Click here for the Ashville website. Click here to subscribe to our channel. Click here to see an Ashville video you may not have seen before. Click down here for last week's episode, which was number 192. You've never watched a Rocky film?
No.
Can you watch one this weekend? I need you to start at 1.
Probably
but I need
not.
you to give it...
It's Euros at the moment, isn't it? Football.